All right, welcome everyone to the video that probably all of you have been waiting for. This is the video where we're going to be talking about how to actually trade and make money using the concept of support and resistance. So the point of this video, just to be clear, is to explain to you how to make money. So if there's any video that you're going to be taking notes, asking questions, reviewing on your own, practicing, watching again, it's this video right here. Now, Easton Harris has done his own video on entries using support and resistance. I'm now going to do a video myself about entries using support and resistance. That way, everyone gets a feel of two different traders, their own ways of approaching it. They can see the similarities and the differences and adapt to the style that suits them best. So, of course, before we just start throwing trades on the charts, we're going to have to take a step back and think about what exactly it is that we're trying to do here. So let's shoot on over and talk about that. All right, now trading based on support and resistance is actually fairly simple. So what we're going to do is I'm going to mark a resistance up here. Let's go ahead and apply my style to it. So here is our major support and resistance. And for the purpose of this specific section, this is going to be our resistance. All right, let's go ahead and throw another one on here that we're going to use as support. So we'll just clone this, bring it down here. And this guy down here, this is going to be our support. Now, when it comes to trading based on support and resistance, there's a couple things that are important to note. So let's first talk about how price moves. So if price is in between these two support and resistance levels, we expect that price will be held here at this support, and it will be held here at this resistance, and price will continue to bounce back and forth at these two levels until at some point one of them breaches. Okay, so conceptually understanding that, that's important. So let's go ahead and write over here. Number one, we expect that price will bounce from S&R levels. Okay, that's the first important thing to note. So we're going to note that over here. And the reason why we want to note this is because this is going to be important when we talk about how to trade these. So the next thing that we want to note is that when price does breach a support or resistance level, what do you expect will happen at that point? You expect that price will come back to that support and resistance level to retest it and then find that it is now its counterpart, support or resistance. So in this case right here, we're looking at the fact that resistance will turn into support. So that's the second thing we want to note. We expect that when support and resistance breaches, price will retest and hold. All right, so we can pull these over here. So that's the second thing we want to note about support and resistance. Again, going to be important when we're actually trading it. Now, another thing that's important to note that we've already talked about, when you're looking at price and price is down here at support, where do you expect price is going to go from right here? You expect price is going to come up to the resistance, right? That's what you expect. And when price reaches the resistance up here, where do you expect it's going to go? You expect, ideally, it be coming back down here to support. And then when we get back down to support, where do you expect price will go? Ideally, right back up here to resistance. So we're going to take note of this. We expect that price will travel from S&R to S&R. So from one level to another. That's how price moves. That's how price travels. Very simple. I'm going to repeat this again. In the financial markets, price is always moving between some type of support and resistance. This section, we're specifically talking about horizontal support and resistance. So the point that we're looking to make here is that price is always traveling between some type of horizontal support and resistance. At any given time, price is looking to move from some kind of support to some kind of resistance, from some kind of resistance to some kind of support. I can't say this enough because it's so important conceptually to be able to open up a chart and understand what exactly is going on and where price is even going. And when you can do that, that's when you can actually make money. Lots of important information so far. I hope that you are all taking notes. Now, quite honestly, these are the only three things that you really need to know to be able to trade support and resistance. Just these three things right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear everything off except for the two support and resistance levels. Let's assume that we open up a chart and we see this. And we see that price is currently holding underneath a major resistance. So we are right here in the market. What is the logical trade to take at this time based on what you know about support and resistance? If you said sell trade, you would be correct. We are sitting up here at a major resistance. We expect, let me go ahead and move this over here so that it's not in our way. We expect that price will bounce from this resistance, that this resistance will hold price, and that price will travel where? Price will travel down here to our support. And I'm going to move our support out of the way now over here. So this is the general idea, right? We already talked about it earlier down here. We expect that price will bounce from support and resistance levels. We're at a resistance level up here, so we're expecting price will bounce. Where is price going to go when it bounces? We already said that we expect that price will travel from support and resistance to support and resistance. So if we're holding underneath this level and we're going to bounce, where can we bounce to? Right back down here to our next support level. So it would only make sense to enter a sell trade off of our resistance and look to get out of the trade, take our profits at the next major support level, at our next S&R level. Okay? And this right here brings up the first trade opportunity. So we're going to come down here to our special list and we're going to add something very important. Trade opportunity number 1. Sell at resistance. Now, if that's the first trade opportunity, what do you think the second trade opportunity is? Trade opportunity number 2. Buy at support. It does not get any simpler than this. This is how you trade support and resistance. Very simple. Write this down. You buy at support. You sell at resistance. That's it. That is it.
You buy at support. You sell at resistance.
You buy at support. You sell at resistance.
Let's continue on with our example. So we take a sell trade. Price does indeed come down to our support, and we exit our sell trade. Wonderful. Okay, now, where are we at? Are we at resistance or are we at support? We are at support. What do you do at support? You buy at support. Why do you buy at support? Because at support, we expect price will bounce and we will head up to our next resistance. This is basic understanding of support and resistance and how it works. So down here, what are we doing? We are buying at the support and targeting what? Targeting our next resistance. Very simple. Okay, next example. You guys are going to be great support and resistance traders by the end of this video. We're in this buy trade. Price is rising. Price is rising. Price hits our target. Okay. What are we going to do now? Where are we at? Are we at support or are we at resistance? We're at resistance. What do you do at resistance? What trade do you take at resistance? You sell. Let's move this over. We're going to enter a sell trade here. And when we sell, what are we going to target? Where do we expect price is going to go? Back down to our support. We target our support. Okay. Now this time, something weird's going to happen. So let's go ahead and move these over again. All right. I hope that I was thorough enough and straightforward enough in explaining how this works conceptually. We're simply selling at all of our resistance levels, buying at all of our support levels, targeting the next support or resistance accordingly. That's it. All right, I'll talk about stops in a minute. Now, the other thing you need to understand is that there are two trade opportunities, sell at resistance and buy at support, but there are also two trade types. So, trade type number one, bounce. This is the trade type that we have been talking about. Move this over here. This is the trade type that we have been talking about up to this point. We're trading bounces. So when price gets to resistance, we expect it will hold and price will bounce down. When price gets to support, we expect it will hold and price will bounce up. But we know already that at some point, all supports and all resistances will break. In that instance, if you're trading a bounce, you'll lose the trade. In that instance, you need to be ready for the second trade type. Trade type number two, break. So there is bounce and there is break. Those are the two trade types. That's it. It's really simple. So in this case, we just took a sell because we're up here. Remember, we're right here at our resistance. Now let's see what price does. Price breaches our resistance. We have a loss. Price comes back and it's now sitting here at what once was our resistance. Now, we've lost this trade. Let me go ahead and drag this over here so that it's out of our way. We've lost this trade, but now we have to ask ourselves the same question that we always ask ourselves, regardless of where we're at. Are we at resistance or support now? Well, we were at resistance, but now we're at what? We're at support. Let me get rid of these other arrows. Okay, there we go. That's a little more clear. So we were at resistance. We're now at support. What do you do at support? It's real simple. You buy. Okay, that's it. And what are you going to target? You're going to target whatever your next resistance is. Right there. That's it. It's real simple. Okay? Question. Theoretical question. On this buy trade right here, let's say we've got several levels up here. All right? Are you going to target this first level right here, or are you going to target the second level right here? What do our theories tell us about support and resistance? They tell us that price moves from one support and resistance level to another support and resistance level. It does not tell us what support and resistance level price will ultimately bounce from. It does not tell us the ultimate destination of price. In order to understand the ultimate destination of price and pick the exact turning point in the market, you have to learn other tools and use confluence. You cannot do it just using the concepts of support and resistance. You can understand that price is likely to reverse at some type of horizontal support and resistance level, but you don't know if it's going to be this one, or one that's way up here that you don't even have marked right now? You don't know. It's not your job to know. It's your job to trade the levels and make money accordingly. You don't need to know that price will end up way up there. You don't need to know that. All you need to do is trade price between one level at a time. You target the next level, that's it. Some advanced traders will do something like this. They'll do TP1, take profit number 1. They'll come up and they'll do TP2, take profit number 2. And what they'll do is they'll eliminate some of their position at each level. But again, that's really beyond the scope of these videos. These videos are designed to teach you how to simply trade support and resistance conceptually between level to level as a beginner. As you grow and learn more tools and get more experience under your belt, the rest will come naturally, and especially because the training as you go through the platform becomes more and more detailed, more and more advanced, more and more financially lucrative. So let's recap what you need to understand by this point in this video, okay? Some things you need to understand by this point in the video before we go into the markets. And if you don't understand any of these things, you need to go back and rewatch, okay? Number 1, we sell at resistance. Number 2, we buy at support. Okay, those are the first 2 important keys. Now, there are 2 trade types for support and resistance. That's it. There's only 2 types of trades you can make. One is a bounce. A bounce trade looks like this. You approach a resistance level and you take a sell from that resistance. You're approaching a support level, you take a buy at that support. In each of those instances, you're placing a trade based on the idea that those levels will hold price. Now, the second trade type for support and resistance is a break. Breaks do inevitably happen in the financial markets. Breaks occur when a support or resistance level is breached, and then price then returns to that level, and that level then acts as its counterpart. So resistance becomes support, support becomes resistance, and you take the trade accordingly based on trade type number 1, which is a bounce. So in this example over here, get rid of these extra levels up here, price was holding as a resistance, but then when it breached, it became what? It became support. So the trade to take at that point was a buy trade. It's that simple. Those 2 trade opportunities, 2 trade types, that's what you need to understand for entries. Now, what about for targets? Where do we expect price will go in any given instance based on the theory of horizontal support and resistance? Well, the idea behind support and resistance is that price moves between one S&R level to another. It's that simple. So when we're looking to place our trades and we are identifying a target or a take profit zone, we need to be looking at the next major support and resistance that we have marked as our target. It's that simple. That's your target every time based on horizontal support and resistance. Now, the last thing you need to understand is how to exit your trades if you're wrong. So get rid of this arrow. And let's use this arrow right here. So let's say we're right here, this white circle right here, and we take this sell trade. When will we know that this sell trade is incorrect? It's wrong. We were wrong. When will we know? Based on our understanding of support and resistance. We'll know when price breaches. So we'll know when price breaches our resistance. That's when we know we were wrong. So when price breaches our resistance, we need to be out of this trade. So that happens right over here to the right. Price came up, we took a sell trade, and then price breached our resistance. When price breached our resistance, we knew that what? We knew we were wrong. We need to be out of the trade. If your stop loss isn't already hit, you need to be out of the trade. Now, for stop loss placement, as just a general understanding when it comes to horizontal support and resistance, you need to have your stop loss on the other side of the support and resistance level. Makes total sense, right? If we're taking a sell right in here, we need to have our stop loss on the other side of this level. Now, a big mistake that a lot of traders make is they'll keep their stop loss too close. They'll keep their stop loss right there, and then a simple wick through this level will take them out. So make sure you give your trade breathing room, okay? Give it breathing room. And worst case scenario, if price breaks through the resistance, you can close it manually when you see that price has broken through the resistance. Don't keep your stop loss so close that you could be taken out of a trade prematurely that you shouldn't be taken out of. Remember, when you are wrong is when price breaches the resistance. That's the only point that you should be exiting your trade. That's it. So that's all you need to know for trade management and exits. Your trade is valid until that support and resistance level that you're trading has breached, at which point you now are looking at a trade type number 2 and you need to prepare for that. And conceptually, when it comes to trading support and resistance, this concludes everything you need to understand. So if everything that we've discussed up to this point makes perfect sense to you, we're now going to go into the market, apply it to the charts, and look at practical examples to build on that understanding so that you can go on your own into the markets and make money using these concepts. All right, so here we are. I've got USD Swiss franc pulled up on the 4-hour time frame. I haven't looked at any of this yet, and we're just going to be hopping around different charts, different time frames, taking a look at what's in front of us, discussing it together, looking at the trade opportunities, looking at identifying the different support and resistance areas, talking about how we would draw them, how we would trade them, how we would capitalize on them and make money. And yeah, we're just going to go through everything together, nice and slow, and really hit hard on this because you can't have enough examples about how to actually apply this stuff and make money. So without further ado, let's hop on in. Let's just throw a vertical line right on over here, and we'll just start from there. So let's zoom in. All right, so we're going to start right here. Now, the first thing right off the bat that I'm noting is that we've got a bounce right here. All right, pretty clear bounce. And then we came back up and we bounced again. Now, by this point, okay, so by the time that I see price was rejected once and twice right here, I don't really need to see much more than that before I'm ready to start looking to trade it, okay? And so the first thing that I'm going to do after noting these two bounces right here is I'm going to go back and look, okay, what else can I see about this level? Because right now I see that it's clearly acting as resistance, but what else can I see about this level? So I'm going to come back over here and get an idea. So I might start off and say, okay, it looks like my level's something like this. Go ahead and get rid of these X's here. Looks like my level's something like this. And just to be clear, let's bring this down. I want to include, show you exactly what I'm looking at here. I want these bodies included, okay? I want the lowest bodies included. These bodies are already within, so that's good. This wick is within, that's good. These bodies are the lowest point. I want them included. I don't really care about this body. It's kind of off down here. It's a little much. I don't really need it. I'm looking for the area that's got most of the rejection, all right? And then also, in terms of up here, I really just need up to this wick. So I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, like so. All right? And that also includes this wick. So that's what I'm looking at for the exact boundaries. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and throw these on here, and then let's just pull this baby back. All right? Now, I've already seen enough. I already can tell right here that it's something that I want to trade. So notice how over here, we came down, we bounced really hard, and then we broke with strong candles. And then we came back up. It was resistance. Okay, that's all I really need to see in that area. We come back over here. Price comes up, resistance. Comes up, resistance. Breaks through, strong candle. Okay, breaks through, strong candle. That's all I really need to see. I can confirm now that it is indeed holding as a support and resistance consistently. And this right here, we'll talk about this in a later month, but that is a false breakout. This is actually a wick on a higher time frame. So again, outside the scope of this video, but just get an understanding of what I'm doing. I'm going back and I'm taking a look at this level and seeing, okay, is this something that I want to trade? Because why? Why am I doing that? Because these two rejections here caught my attention. So if you're in the live market and you're, say, maybe right in here, this is what you need to have on your chart. Support and resistance. You need to be seeing this and thinking, okay, what do I want? I want to see price come back up to this level so that I can do what? What do you do at resistance? So let's go ahead and mark this. Resistance. Okay. What do you do at resistance? You sell. And so what does price do? Price comes back up into our resistance. And what are we going to do? We're going to initiate a sell trade. Okay. This candle specifically was in our resistance. We're going to take a sell. Stop loss is on the other side of this level. Again, don't put it like right here. Okay. Right above the level. You'll get wicked out. See, like in this case, how there's this wick that comes through. Sometimes the wick are a little bigger. They'll take you out. There's no need for that. Just give it some room. Just throw it over here. You know, if price closes on the other side over here, you can get out manually. All right, give yourself some room. That's the stop loss. It's that easy. When you're going to exit this trade if you're wrong? When price breaches this zone that you've got drawn. It's that simple. All right, go ahead and pull this box over here. All right, now what are we targeting? What are we going to target? Well, zoom back out. Okay, so get rid of this white, get rid of this. All right, so we are currently right here. All right, what are we going to target? We're going to target the next major support. Well, what's our next major support? Pause the video, see if you can identify the next major support. The next major support is right here. So you've got two rejections right here, okay? Same thing as up here. I'm going to note these two rejections. I'm going to get an idea of what my zone is here. Okay, now let's zoom in. Let's talk about this zone. So in this case, this wick is a little far-fetched. It's a little much. I think it was an overshoot. So I'm actually just going to, again, I'm looking for where most of the rejection is taking place. So we're going to have a level that looks like this. So what I'm looking at specifically, let's get specific here. I'm looking at this right here. I'm looking at this right here. Okay, so it includes those. Looking at this right here, this right here. All right, that's what I'm looking at for these boundaries. So let's zoom out, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and see what else I can find out about this level. So the first thing I'm noticing is that it looks like we've got some support right around the same area. So maybe we can get a better idea of what the real boundaries are, because this is really small. So let's pull this back here and let's see what we've got. All right, so the first thing I'm noting, let's go ahead and zoom in here. The first thing I'm noting is, okay, looks like we got this, but it looks like we're not including these rejections too. So what this tells me is that our zone is probably actually a little higher. And I want to include both of these rejections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on, let me get rid of this right here. I'm going to focus in on this one, make sure I'm including this one because this one's included with that. So I want to make sure I include both of these areas that price clearly rejected from, okay? So that's what I'm looking at there. And I'm going to call this good for my zone. Let me just tidy up the bottom again, right about there. All right, let's get rid of these arrows, because now they're just in the way. All right, let's get rid of these arrows here. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull this over, like so. And then, just because I like the way it looks, let's go ahead and throw our levels on like so. All right. This is our resistance. Let's clone this, bring this down here. This is our support. And where we're going to take this sell trade from. And take it from our resistance, give it some breathing room. Take profit is down here, somewhere at this support. And that's that. And that's the first trade. And the first trade was a winning trade. Now, let's talk about the next trade. Zoom in here. Let's move this over. All right. The next trade. Price is down here at our support. What are we going to do with our support? We're going to buy. So let's take our buy trade. And what are we going to be aiming for on this buy trade? Let me zoom back out here. Pull this over. We're going to be aiming for our resistance, right? All right. Stop loss is going to be down here with some breathing room. Maybe like right here. All right. Now what happens in this case? Let's get rid of this. Let's just note that we are right here. Okay. What happens in this case? What's the very next candle do? It busts through our support with force. Okay. Now our stop loss is down here with breathing room, so it hasn't been hit yet, but price has breached our support. Should we be in a buy trade if price has breached our support? No. The only reason we bought to begin with was because we were betting on the fact that support would hold. It did not. You need to manually exit your trade, take a loss right here, 27 pips. Okay? That's that trade. Now, price has breached the support. This now becomes trade opportunity type number 2. So let's get our tool here. Came down, found a little bit of support, but then we broke through. So now what are we looking for? We're looking for support to turn to resistance, and then we're looking to sell. And you can already, I'm sure you see in front of you how that's going to go. We're going to sell this candle right in here that came back into our zone and rejected. Stop loss above the high, above the S&R level with some breathing room. Let's zoom out. Pull this in, and I'm going to get rid of this yellow here because now it's just in the way. Okay? What are we going to be aiming for in this case? So now, we're right here. This is entry number 3. All these white circles are entries. What are we going to be aiming for now? Well, we need the next support or resistance level down beneath us. We don't have it marked. Okay, let's go find it. Let's see if we can find it. We're going to have to zoom back. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right. Let's come over here. All right, so it looks like there's a significant level right in here. Now let's talk about the boundaries for a second. So originally, what caught my eye was this. This is what caught my eye because what was I noting? I was noting that right here we've got support, right here we've got support, and then it looks like it broke with a strong candle, and then it looks like it retested and found it as resistance. So I saw that. You need to be at the point where you can just see that. I mean, it's just what it is. So I noticed that, and then I thought, okay, so it looks like we've got a level right in here. All right, now boundaries. Let's talk about boundaries. So boundary-wise, in this example right here, I want to make sure that I'm bringing it up to these bodies since it looks like both candlesticks found support right here. So I'm going to bring it up to these bodies. And on this one down here, I'm also going to bring it down to the bodies. So, you know, when I'm doing these boundaries, I'm looking to include as much of the price action that I can without being excessive, without making the zone too large, okay? So that's kind of my criteria. And also, I don't want it to be too small. So if I didn't use the bodies and like I used the wicks, it would end up looking something like that. And when you have a zone like that, that's how you typically start to get whipsawed. So I don't like that. So I like this. This is what I'm going to use, personally. And then I'm looking over here, and I'm liking what I see because there's a strong candle break. And then we had some consolidation right here, and then we continued on. So I like that. So I'm happy with this. Let's see if this is where price goes. Sure enough. So this was our support. We aim for it, and then we're going to win this trade. It's that easy. All right? And again, we'll talk about this in another month, but this is actually a wick on a higher time frame. This is a hold at this support. All right? So you having fun yet? Are you having fun yet? You're catching pips. Do you realize what these actually mean? I know that they're just green and red boxes on the screen, but do you realize what these trades actually mean? This trade right here was 90 pips. This trade right here, you lost 27. Let's just round it to 30. So you're up 60 pips, and then you're up another 40. So you just caught 100 pips between these three trades. 100 pips, guys, even on something as small as a 0.1 lot, on a mini lot. That's still $100. How about 5 mini lots? It's $500. That's rent for a lot of people. So this is really, really powerful stuff. Look, guys, what are the next trade opportunities? Okay, I'm going to mark them with circles. We're going to sell at this resistance when we get back up here. And where are we going to aim? So let me move this trade opportunity over here. Okay, where are we going to aim on this? When we sell right here, stop loss goes up here. Move this over. And our target is back off down into the support. All right. What are we doing down here at the support? What are we doing right in here? We're buying. Where are we buying up to? Our resistance. Pull this over. Okay. Look how simple this is. Now we don't get a sell opportunity, so note this. See this candle right here? We're not going to get a sell opportunity when we get back up to the resistance because we just break right through. So when we break right through, what are we looking to do? What do we want to see? We want to see price bust through, retest as support, and then we want to buy. Now, here's an interesting spot to talk about. I like this. So, all right. Now, in this case right here, when we go to take our buy trade off down in here at our support, okay, here's the next major resistance that we've already got marked. However, you have to understand that there is another resistance at work right here on top of our heads. So check this out right here. You see this wick right here? That's a rejection. You see how price rejected here? That's a rejection. So that's important to note when we're entering this trade because we need to understand that we might find resistance sooner than our next major level. And sure enough, look what happens. Look what happens right here. Look what happens. Pinpoint reaction right there. Okay? So in this case, you needed to identify that and your first target needed to be right here. Okay? That's simple. That's how you do it. And if you didn't understand that, you didn't pick that up, and you aimed for this, you probably took a loss, an unnecessary loss, because remember, the principle is this. Price moves between support and resistance. You don't know, based just purely on support and resistance, which support or resistance price is going to ultimately react at. So to take price through a level and aim for the next level is a gamble. It's always going to be a gamble. So I don't know about you, but me personally, I don't like to gamble. Aim for the next level, call it good. You'll sleep better at night. You'll catch more pips. You'll make more money. It's that simple. All right, so moving on. All right, you get a couple buy and sells back and forth in here, easy money. Price breaks through the support. We don't really get a solid retest, so we probably don't catch this sell trade. And then price gets back down here. Now, here's what I want to note, too, something down here. Do you see how earlier price came through our support twice? All right? This is when you have to understand that you need to kind of adjust your support. Maybe your boundaries were slightly off. So in this case, when price is coming back down here, the first thing I'm going to be looking at was, okay, now last time price was down here, it looked like my support level was a little off. So let's take this bottom boundary, pull it down to these bottom wicks right here. So specifically right here. You know, to understand exactly what I'm looking at. These wicks right in here, okay? And then let's take the top boundary and let's pull it down to include this wick right here. This wick right here, okay? Now notice how the bodies are included in here, so I like that. And the body of this candle is way too high. I don't want my zone to look like that. That's just ridiculous. I'm going to bring it down. I like this, okay? And now look how beautiful this is. See how that works? Very nice, huh? Now on a buy trade down here, because you're going to be looking to buy down here, if you aim for this next resistance, price isn't going to make it. This is going to happen sometimes. Price will not always make it up. You'll learn in later months why this happens, but for now, just understand that you're playing a competitive edge in the market. There will be some losses. Things won't always work out perfectly. So in this case, let's say that we have a loss. We're going to close. Our stop loss was down here. Price breaches our support. We're going to go ahead and close this trade manually right there at the close of that candle. All right. Price comes back up and breaches our newfound resistance, breaches it, comes up to resistance. Doesn't look like there's an opportunity to catch this trade, at least on this time frame. And then we come back down to support, and then we're able to catch a trade in here. We're able to buy one of these candles holding, price is holding above the support. What do you do at support? What do you do at support? What's the problem? Click the buy button. If you open up your chart and price is just chilling right here above an S&R that you've marked, you need to have the confidence in yourself and you need to click the buy button. Let me tell you something very honest, okay? Something that's really important, something that really helped me. Look, if you don't click the buy or sell button, you can't make money, okay? You can't make money. You cannot be scared to lose. You cannot doubt yourself. Look at this, okay? You win this trade, and then you sell this candle right here because you're at resistance, and what's going to happen? It's going to take you out, and it's probably going to hit your stop loss in this case because it's such a big candle. It's going to take you out, and you're going to lose. And guess what? The loss that you just took is a lot smaller than the win you just took. And guess what you're going to do now that you've lost this trade? What are you going to do now? We've talked about this. You are playing a bounce, but we broke through our resistance. What do you want to see now? Retest, buy to the next resistance. What's going to happen? Price is going to retest. We're going to get our buy. It's going to go to our next resistance. Look at the profit you just made. 70 pip profit versus a 35 pip loss. But if you doubt yourself or if you're scared, you don't press the button, you're not going to catch those pips. You're not going to make the money. Okay, you can't make money if you don't click the button. You can't take a loss if you don't click the button either. But you can't make money if you don't click the button. All right? Y'all having fun with this yet? Look at this. I find this very amusing. You see this? Why did that happen? That's why it happened. You got to be enjoying this. This is fun. This is fun. Look, look. Very simple. Watch this. Clear all this off because it's starting to get messy. Look at this. Let's go back to this one. This one's fun. Right across here. Okay. First of all, what are the boundaries for this? Let's go take a look. Okay. Now this is important. I'm bringing this back and I'm noting all of this. So here's what that tells me. So previously, here, let me, I don't want to move too fast. So before I saw this, when I was just looking at this and this, I had the box drawn as shown because what I was looking at was I was looking at this area right here. Okay, I wanted to make sure I get the most. So actually, I'd like to bring it down just a little bit. See here, down just a little bit to include all of these bodies right here. All right, and then over here, I was thinking, okay, well, the top of this wick right here is the uppermost boundary, so let's make sure and get that included. And that was the zone I was looking at. Now, when I came back over here and I saw all of these rejections, I started to think, okay, you know what? How much you want to bet that the real resistance is actually up here at the top of this, and in all actuality, the zone ends right there and starts up here. Something like this. Okay, let's delete this. So I hope you understand how I came to that conclusion because it's really important. And now look at everything. Do you see how everything aligns real nicely now? If you look at this area, it makes sense. 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 Let's come over here. Look at that. This area, it makes sense. This area, it makes sense. This area, it makes sense. Okay? So this is how you need to be doing it. You need to be checking all the data, looking at the level that you actually want to trade. All right? So it's pretty simple, guys. If you look at this level, like in particular, you should have had it identified, you know, definitely by this point. All right. So everything after this, it's pretty simple. What did you do right here? Sell. What did you do right here? Sell. Exactly. What did you do right here? Sell. Why are you selling? Why are you selling? If you said anything other than because we're at resistance, you need to go back and watch the beginning of the video. What are you doing right here? Sell. What are you doing right here? You're clicking the sell button. What are you doing right here? Even when you lose, what did you do? You sold. And then you lost. And what did you do when price broke through and it held a support? What did you do? Bought. And that's that. It's real simple, okay? And each one of these sell trades, no matter where you were shorting from, your stop loss was above the level with some breathing room, and your target was whatever the next support was. So over here, you had a support right in this area. So on these sell trades right here, this one and this one, you're probably aiming for this level right off the bat. All right, now for this sell trade right here, you're probably aiming for this support down here. All right, and then on these sell trades over here, you're probably aiming for this level, this big level right in here because it was so important. It became more important as we went and we had more reactions from it, okay? So by this point, it was a very important level. So you can see how each trade had a slightly different take profit. So this was adjusted, but the stop loss was the same for each trade. And then on this buy trade over here, this buy trade right here, and then of course, what did you do right here? Bought. What did you do over here? You bought. What were you targeting each time? Where was your stop loss? So if you take a buy position up here, let's move this over. Stop loss was down here with some breathing room. Why don't you keep it right here on the other side? Because look at this. See this wick right here? See this wick right here? It'll take you out and you'll lose for no reason. Everyone's taught to do that. That's why everyone loses. We don't do that over here. Give it some breathing room on the other side. Each of these buy trades, stop loss down here somewhere. Don't stress too hard about it. Just give it some breathing room. You'll be okay. All right. Now, where are we aiming all of these buy trades to? Let's take a look. Looks like we've got a potential level right in here, and it looks like we've got a level up here. All right. Let's go back and see if we can get some more data on this. So, yeah, this level right here, look at this. Very important. So that's where I'm aiming for. And then TP2 will be up here. You'll learn about that later. So let's go see what happens. All right. So looks like all of our take profits were hit right here. Okay. Now up here, our next level, you can see price eventually, of course, broke, retested, and came up here. Why did it not hit exactly? Well, A, it's a zone, but B, we don't have the bottom of the parameters matched. So I'm looking at this, and I'm noting that we had a rejection here, on top of all of these rejections up here. So I need to make sure that these are included because clearly they're bouncing from the area that we need marked. So my zone looks something like this. I'm not going to include the wick way up there because it's just too much. Or something like this. All right. When you do that, come back out here. When you do that, everything makes sense. Okay? See how that works? Guys, this is how you trade support and resistance. You just go back and forth. All right, price was up here. What were you doing up here? You were selling. Again, even though I didn't include it in the box, you know that there's a region up here that you don't want to be screwing with, okay? So I'm not going to be buying that breakout. All right, what are you targeting at that point? You're targeting, let's see, it looks like right in here. Oh, look at that. We're currently at it. Your trades have hit TP. All right, it's that simple. You're currently in a buy trade. Right now, live market, you're in a buy trade, probably entered somewhere over here, okay? Targeting this level up here, stop loss down here with breathing room, okay? So even though this wick came through here, you should still be in the trade. Stop loss is down here with breathing room. If this candlestick right now, closes down here, we will manually exit the trade, and then we will wait to see if price comes back up, tests at a resistance, and then we will sell. Where will we sell to? Here is yellow line. Where will we sell to if we lose this trade? Right in there. Okay? So do you understand how this works? So right now, we're in a buy trade. If we lose this trade, if price closes down here, we want to see it retest, and then we'll sell it down here. That's it. That's how you trade support and resistance. So I could go through and literally give you a million different support and resistance examples. I can draw them up as lines. I can draw them up as zones. I can use different levels on the same chart in front of us. Like I could use this level to trade. It doesn't really matter. They all work if you use them correctly and you draw them right and you understand the principles. But at the end of the day, you have to go and practice. You need the experience. It's not enough to watch me do it. It's not enough to learn the information from us. You have to practice. You have to take the trades. You have to gain the experience. You got to make the money. What are you waiting for?